Hey everyone, I'm Nito King, and it's time to build up some folks with a special guest.
Hey everybody, it's Zain, and I see we're starting off with which of the fun ones from the Undersea City?
Yeah, I forgot to check Hobbledee's other karma after defeating Answerer. Turns out it's just 10 warm tree nuts, and I have plenty of those.
Thank God. I don't even understand how you got so lucky with all that. I like of the ones that are supposed to drop like cold nuts and warm nuts, like the have high drop rates. I would have to do the same area like 10 times to get one. And I'm like, seriously?
Wow.
My luck is terrible in this game.
Yeah, I guess I really spend a lot of time just going back and forth and killing stuff anyway, so I just seem to get a lot of drops. Except for green quartz.
Mm,
I'm just setting up some of the folks that I gotta beat a bunch of things with.
That's the one that takes forever. I mean, I understand they really, really, really wanted you to grab stuff, and that's fine. But you could at least, maybe put the folks' health down a little bit so you don't have to go through what feels like 5 minutes of killing one folk.
I don't think it just feels like, I think it actually is 5 minutes per folk.
Pretty much, and like the little ones are surprisingly durable. Let's just say that.
It kind of depends on what you're doing. I mean, if you're grinding, say, pulse tree nuts or green dust, it's really not that bad.
Maybe.
Only time I'm really worried about is when you have to use a specific folk to get the kills. Like here, I have to beat something like 10 folks, I think, with Candela.
Yeah.
And it's all sped up here, so you can't really tell, but Candela takes a long time to go off.
Well, it's not only the fact that it takes a long time to go off, it takes a lot of your magic power. That's what I've always called the blue bar. I'm like, it's the magic power.
Yeah. So you gotta use it, wait until it goes off, wait until your magic recovers, use it again, wait for it to go off. It took me a really long time to get all that done.
Yeah, it became to the point where, like, I would use one of my more potent, I guess, or the strongest folk I had,
Yeah.
and I'd just count how many times it would take, or how many swings. I want to say it was oh, I can't remember his name, begins with an O, cat with the claw on the face.
Agma?
Ogma, that's it. So I'd count how many times it would take Ogma to kill him, and just do that one less, and then I'd go on with proceeding to kill with the folk that needed to.
Yeah, well, I do about the same thing with Puka. Just, it's a matter of getting it down to almost dead, and then using the other folk. Problem is, as you're building up karmas, you can lose track of exactly how many hits that takes.
Yeah, they tend to fluctuate, and it's not. It's just weird.
And sometimes you gotta use folks that really aren't suited to the job you're trying to use them for. I mean, Candela's not bad, you don't have to aim it or anything. It's just this giant electric cage everywhere. Coming up after I finish Candela is a much, much less fun folk. Although I gotta say that works really well on Impet.
Wow, those things were a pain in the butt. Like, especially starting off when all you had was the folk that just shot bubbles.
Yeah, Henki actually is still just as effective, I think.
Really, even at this point.
Yeah. If you're trying to get a water attack to go upwards, then it's really good. And it's one of the best things I've still got for hitting flying folks. I mean, yes, Candela gets the job done, but it takes a long time to work. And Garbera works, but that's wind elemental, so not always useful.
That's very true. I hated how, like, little you got of the wind element, really.
Yeah, at this point, without counting the download folk, I've got 2 wind attacks.
Right, yeah, it's like you got like a plentiful smorgasbord of like everything else, but wind's like, yeah, here's 2.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if it wasn't for the DLC, I wouldn't have gotten that the fairy outfit initially until like much later in the game.
Yeah. Actually, the funny thing is, just this past weekend, my mom and I went to GameStop, and there was a copy of Folklore there. So, I went ahead and she picked it up. And I helped her, you know, figure out how to get it installed, get the downloads done, and pointed her to using Quasarili to get the fairy cloak right away. Because she's not really much of a gamer.
Well, no. I mean, I love, don't get me wrong, like, I love the game, but Jesus Christ, do they hate, like, they hate the 100%ers in this game.
Very much so. So here's me finally getting enough Hankies killed with Mabinogion. There are multiple reasons that this grinding video, the raw, was something like 2 hours total. And that's one of the big reasons.
That's insane.
I mean, people in the thread keep saying, oh, Mabinogion's great if you just sit in the center of it and put up a shield like Spriggan. But if you're actually trying to kill something with it, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's more of a control folk than anything. You're not really supposed to kill with it.
Yeah, and if it comes to that, I'd rather just put some folks on that I can kill stuff with. Meanwhile, gotta kill some Barghest with Answerer, and I discover that once again Fraxinus is just the superior /element folk.
Yeah, I don't know. It always felt really good when you use the slower folk. Like the hits felt harder, though they probably were never.
Yeah, well, I'm having fun with Alrane here too. I gained a new appreciation for it after doing the DLC quest in the previous video.
I always liked it. I never got to the Crescent Slash part. That's actually really cool. At one part I just said, man, this is going to be the death of me if I try to get every folk up to 100%.
Yeah, there's a lot that I'm not really looking forward to. As a matter of fact, even as of this grinding video, I still haven't gotten Quasarili's final karma. And they're all unlocked from the start.
Oh, that's I don't remember what that one was, but
15 green quartz.
Yeah, that's it.
As of this moment, I have 4, and 3 of those came from one of the quests.
Yeah, I remember, you know, when you first stumble on a quest, you're like, oh my god, this is gonna, you know, leveling up folks is just gonna be so much easier. No, it wasn't at all.
Oh, and here's the fun part. Defeat 10 Kushi with Candela.
Yeah, like that's the best part. Yeah, Kushis are the biggest pain in the ass. They are way too tanky for what they are.
Yeah, at least you can shock them. It's just really hard to get the timing quite right, and Candela still doesn't hurt them while they're lying down. And then I accidentally take a step forward.
Oh, that is depressing.
Well, not really. I mean, it was just 1 left. This room's got something like 7 of them. So I figured I'd come in here. You know.
Oh man, I love the Warcadia folks the best, just because of how ridiculous a lot of them get.
Yeah, they're almost overpowered, I think. You know, most of the bestiary entries for how to defeat certain folks, it's almost all just, okay, use Bullseye.
Use Bullseye, use the landmine guys.
You use Ambush?
I like using Ambush. He was dumb, but he actually, if you maxed him out, a lot of his stuff became really powerful.
Yeah, I guess it's true. A lot of times I don't bother to use the folk since I've leveled them up. But yeah, here I am attempting to do anything against Kushi with a folk that requires me to stand still for 10 seconds at a time.
And you keep getting charmed, and you're getting either charmed or icicles just dropped on you, and that's...
Yep. There's no way to dodge most of this stuff, and there's no cloak that provides immunity to charm. Not even after this point.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's just not a very good room to try to build up in. So, back to the room that's got 2 Kushi. And I'll just do it the long and difficult way. Plus, of course, I gotta kill the hobblies every time. And it's still 4 Peg Powler attacks to get one of them dead.
Oh,
3 to draw it as red id, so it's not too bad. And this is me just doing the best I can to time my Candela attacks, so I'm actually doing damage with most of them.
Good luck with that. I mean, you're doing a good job, but damn, that is...
It's just not a pleasant experience.
No.
And I really wouldn't do it if Candela weren't such a useful folk, or I were doing an LP where I'm actually trying to do everything. Mostly just so I can show how annoying it is to try to do everything.
It is, yeah. Anyone that has never played this game and decided, I'm gonna be just trying to 100% it. Whatevs. That's not a thing I have to worry about. No. This breaks anybody. Like, if anyone has the I'm a completionist sort of thing, this game will break you.
Although there are smart ways to go around certain things.
Have you been completely charm locked by the Kushi yet? I've yet to see anybody say, "Oh yeah, no, I love the Kushi. They're the most fun folk to fight." Outside the fact that they're immune to all damage while they're asleep, and they sleep for ages. If you get a bad, like 2 of them in a bad pattern, you could just be charm locked.
Yeah, I've never encountered that, as far as I know. I mean, what you saw in the previous room was about the worst of it. But as long as you're not trying to kill them, if you're just capturing them, it's no big thing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even that previous room, I could potentially have just captured a couple of them and then killed the rest. But that's more effort than it's worth. Do I want to fight 2 Peg Powler or 3 Hobbly?
Yeah.
Back to normal speed. I think that means it's about time.
You got one of your folks leveled up, and come on.
It's coming. I just kind of wanted to show everybody that you can shock them with thunder attacks and they'll actually be stunned. And also, it still takes a whole bunch of Candela hits to kill them.
Just way too much.
And they stun easily, but it takes forever to kill one.
Yeah, Kushi have so much health that I at one point just assumed that they regen health while they were asleep.
It wouldn't surprise me too much if that were the case. But okay, I concede there is a point where I use ambush. And it's because I have to kill some number of Skriker with it. But I also have to capture a bunch of them, so the best thing to do, particularly with Skriker, is stun multiples of them at a time and capture them all at once. And then you don't have time to pick up the whatever it is they dropped.
It's almost generally like nothing you ever need.
warm tree nuts. It is kind of important just to know what everything drops, because you never know when it's going to be something you actually care about.
True. One thing that actually, like, really kind of annoyed me about, well, Folklore in general. I mean, I love Game Republic. I love their games because they're very creative. But I really wish they would have just said, you know, if one folk needs 10 of one folk spirits and another one needs 10 of one folk spirits, and say like you didn't have that folk, it's just once you got it, it just auto upgraded. I think that would have been a nice thing.
I can't say I really know what you're talking about, but
I forgot which folks do, but they tend to have like I can't remember which of them do, but like say like one needs 5 ambush spirits and another one needs 10. So like say you have one that, you know, you already have the one that needs the 5, you get the 5. You capture one that needs 10 and it needs a fresh 10.
you know, you need to kill the, you know, however many whatever folk with the folk that you're trying to build up.
That I'm perfectly fine with, but just the whole capture, absorb, you know, X amount of
yeah, but you only ever have to absorb a folk to build up its own karma.
I swear there was another one, but it's been a while to know what every folk required.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even remember the ones from this video.
It's so arbitrary, really. I would love it more if it was just like, hey, just keep using it.
Yeah, on the other hand, this does kinda lock some of your folks at a lower level until you get to further chapters, and you know, others you can build up right away if you've got the patience for it.
Oh yeah, I mean, because a lot of the earlier folks are still really powerful, and once you get like the whole set with them, they're just as good as other folks.
Yeah, I know some people like to switch to the latest and greatest folks whenever they get them, and some people like to stick with the older ones. And when I played through the game, most of the characters I would stick with Puka, Kilmulis, and you know, generally Barghest almost all the time.
Oh, Puka was great because you could pretty much just spam the whole time without ever losing any of your magic.
Yeah, and I was a big fan of that. I probably should have gotten that karma before I went for the hankies, because now Mabinogian's got 4 electric tendrils. But I didn't.
Oh.
Kinda plotted everything out. Fairy Realm first, then here, and... or no, Fairy Realm Undersea City, then here. And Peg Powler reaches its maximum attack power. Hooray. But I plotted my course very carefully so I would have to repeat realms as little as possible, preferably not at all. And I think for the most part I didn't, except that there was one karma that I forgot to do while I was here, and I had to do later. I was particularly worried about trying to capture the Spriggan, since there's always going to be a Mabinogian in the room with it. But the Mabinogian is actually kind of a non-entity. It just stays away from you.
Yeah, they're fairly harmless overall.
Yeah, except that time. I don't know what the heck happened, but it just kept dive bombing me.
Oh man, like I forgot like how arbitrary some of the capture devices are. It's like I would have just liked to do the pole. I don't want to suplex the spirit out.
Yeah, the later ones are quite a pain. the first couple aren't too bad. You know, I actually kind of like beat. Timing isn't too bad. Just that sometimes they can sit there forever and not let you capture them, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, it's not as bad as that as the fairy forests, that secret folk. Oh my god, that took forever to capture.
Yeah, you know, the funny thing is, if I went back to capture it now, it's absolutely trivial.
Really?
Yeah. Because now I've got Habitrot. So that's a sleep attack with some vertical range.
The worst part, too, I mean, the sleep attack's always good, but, like, she was so, like, not even worth it. Like, her whole moves were just really bad. I never felt a use for that folk at all.
Yeah, I think I may have used it in one of the quests, just as an alternative to Kushi once or twice. But there's really no reason to ever do that. Especially if you're waiting until you get Habitrot like a sensible person would do before you try to capture Shefro. You've already got Kushi, so there's no reason ever to use Shefro. Ever.
Yeah, it's... I don't know, like, what I was thinking at the time. I remember what I was thinking at the time. I was like, oh, there's this new folk. This must be amazing. And no, it took too much of my time and paid off absolutely terribly.
Yeah, if there were some reason to use Charm in the first couple chapters and Brownie just wasn't going to cut it, then I could almost see. But I think Sleep covers your needs there.
Oh, easily.
I'm trying to remember whether there even are any folks that are vulnerable to Charm and not Sleep early on. Especially since Sleep lets you auto-capture just about anything in the Fairy Realm.
Yeah, no, it does. I almost forgot about that.
And I've learned so much about this game from doing this LP, just because I feel the urge to experiment with stuff.
Oh, yeah, I mean... If anything LPs have taught me is that you just kind of do random crap and hope it works.
And I've got another charge level for Humpty, which I don't even think I ever used the charge levels I had. It'll probably be important when I finally get around to fighting Balewind. I don't think Humpty is going to be at all suited for fighting Balewind.
Probably not, no.
So here is finally me using Thrumpin. It's kinda not all that great. Pretty strong, but you just sort of fling it out there, hit the enemy, and there you go.
Yeah.
It's like Azrai without the combo.
Oh, no, that's right. He becomes defensive with Keith, not,
No, the defensive one is Kilmulus. They look identical, but they're different folks.
Oh, okay.
For Keats, it's kind of like a watered-down Trent, and for Ellen, it's a watered-down Azrai. Still not much use either case.
It's just so silly looking, like every time you get a new folk, it always has, at least whenever you go up in the folk realms, I guess. They tend to have a little more umph in their I guess summoning, if you want to call it that. But this is just like, yeah, hey, front flip, cool moves.
Yeah, the Chapter 5 folks are definitely going to look a bit more menacing. But Chapter 5 is just awesome in a lot of ways. I think I figured it was too much trouble fighting the Garbera, so I went to a room where there's actually something that Skriker is going to be good against. Or ended up in a dead end. I forgot what the path was. Yeah, it's the one hard part about returning to the Endless Corridor after all this time is each character's got a different route they gotta take, and you'll get lost along the way if you forget which character goes through which door. But there's Skriker in action. Toss 3 of them out, they run into the enemy, they self-destruct.
It's a fairly good foe. It's not one of the best out there, but I mean, if you really need to get enemies away from you fast, you can't really be beaten.
Yeah, and I'm just not really sure what use Koropuna is supposed to have when you've got this folk, which is basically 3 of it at once.
Well, maybe it's a stronger explosion? Maybe?
I don't think so, and even so, the quantity of Skriker is gonna do a lot more damage.
It's true. Yeah, it's really hard to really sell a folk, especially one that would either take more time to level up or just in general like more effort to get, when there's another one that's super easy to get and is generally fairly quicker, like when you get it.
They knew when they were making the game, everybody's a completionist.
They really did.
Then you look at Majin in the Forsaken Kingdom. Is anybody ever going to raise the relationship level to the top? There's a trophy for it.
Has anyone ever gotten that trophy? I would say no.
I tried, but I just kind of ran out of enemies that I could kill using joint attacks.
Yeah, and then there's Knight's Contract. I love that game, don't get me wrong, but there's just some things, like, I forgot what it was. It was like, crush like 1,000 enemies using your super move. I forgot what it was. It was basically spirit form of the witch, and you at max you can only crush like 5 enemies at a time, and it takes forever to get that spiritual force to get that move anyway. Like guys, come on, you gotta think here.
Yeah, I never actually played that one.
It's actually really good. I think it really did the escort quest thing right, because like your escort is your health bar. The main character isn't at all a health bar. It's just another shield, and the person you're escorting can actually fight.
Oh, that makes some sense.
Yeah, I was like, you know, this is how I would imagine it. So I mean, it's fairly God of War like, though I've never played God of War to do the one-to-one comparison and how well it is, but it's a fairly visceral game. I kind of liked it.
All right. Yeah, so here's me capturing all the Thrumpinids after I use all the upgrade items that I needed. Probably should have upgraded Thrumpin before I upgraded Mabinogion with the purple dust, because now I'm out of purple dust again. I actually went back to that room a couple times. I got 3 while I was grinding for Thrumpin, and then killed something like 15 or 20 more Mabinogion, never got another purple dust.
Again, like,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, you've had like amazing luck with items in the first place, but again, it's like The drop rates are atrocious, like super atrocious.
And, of course, it seems like some items are going to drop all the time and others never. Golden ore I don't think I've ever had trouble with accumulating, so I need 2 of those for Spriggan, I believe. And the enemies in this room drop plenty.
Patriot has been one of my more favorite folks to use, just because he seems to hit hard and often.
Patriot's a shield.
Which one's the Lancer then?
That's Gaboy.
Damn it. I'm terrible with names in both games and in real life.
That's alright, I'm pretty sure I've misspoken at least a couple times. I know a few of them I've gone back and redubbed lines because I said the wrong name. A couple times I left it in and just corrected myself on the fly. Bet you can't tell which is which. And the nice thing about this room is that everything in here is vulnerable to the destroy element, so I can just put on, say, Skriker, Barghest, carve my way through the whole thing. And there we go, that's already 2 golden ores. It should be...
There you go.
Yeah, and I got plenty of yellow stones. So now Spriggan is, I think, as cheap as any of the other shields. So now I just have to fight enough Gargantua to get 1 green quartz. That's all I need to build up one of the folks. And again, I'm not even going to bother with Quasarili, and it's 15 green quartz.
Oh my god, is this like up to 10 times speed? Because this feels like 10 times speed.
I think it's just 8 times. But I only showed some of the highlights. You know, the first one I killed, I got a rank up. I've gotten 1 drop so far, and that was a life drop. And I get another rank up, and I still had to fight a couple more after that. And of course, remember, I only get experience when I capture them, and I've tried to kill them as much as I could. So there are a few that I didn't even capture. And this one finally drops the green quartz that I was looking for.
Oh, thank God. After, like... I was about to say, like, after about 50. 20.
Yeah.
That's about right, yeah.
I mean, the first time, I think it took 11 of them to get 2 in the previous chapter. Or was that when I was fighting them as Keats? But needed to capture 3 more Habitrout, so back we go to the Endless Corridor. And amazingly enough, I still managed to beat it in under the time limit every time. I don't know what the big difference is between Ellen and Keats that it's so much easier to do with Ellen.
She's more mobile, I think.
I
think
that time I killed it.
I think it's just because she's able to not only like move around while fighting, but also it tends to she doesn't have to be connected to the folks like Keats does.
Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, a lot of times I just send Quasarili spinning around and kill everything in the area. But I think it also might be that I'm actually using normal attacks. With Keats, I was using just ice attacks, and that might be a little more limiting. And granted, it's kind of hard to be less limiting than a Kraken. But there we are. Habitrout reaches its full potential.
Woohoo!
And it is just the only sleep attack I think you'll ever need. Then I figured, okay, I've got all the karmas, so it's time to end. Went back to the save point, and then I realized Koropuna still needs to defeat some number of Spriggan. So back to Tower Brahma 2. deal with the Spriggan, try to kill it with Koropuna. And this is where I think the theory of Koropuna being a stronger attack falls apart. Because just watch how much effort it takes to kill this thing. There's the red id. One Koropuna attack doesn't do it, it recovers. And I think I have to go through something like 3 iterations of trying to kill it before it recovers. Koropuna is weak.
Yeah.
Very, very weak.
All it really has going for it is that it's a cute little attack, but that's about it. Cute doesn't get you far in this world.
Yep. And that's 1 kill out of however many. I think it's just 3.
But it's 3 Spriggan kills, which Spriggan's... yeah.
Pretty tough.
Way too tough.
Yeah. I mean, this is where I'm even swapping back and forth so I can use some kind of normal attack against Garbera and then slash attacks against Spriggan. Of course, I keep forgetting about Fraxinus. Wonderful, wonderful Fraxinus. Granted, its distance attacks aren't all that great against Spriggan because you have to get close in order to drop its shield. And look at that. Already, there's the one green quartz I needed.
Congratulations! When you don't need it anymore.
Yeah, I could always hang around and get 14 more, but I think Spriggan is actually going to be slightly less annoying than Gargantua to grind at.
Yeah, Gargantuan... I enjoy the fact that it gets eventually, it gets damaged depending on where and how you hit it. But that just only leads to a really long fight with something that doesn't need to be that long.
Oh, it's a mini-boss. Spriggan really is just kind of a normal folk. And there we go. From fighting all those Mabinogion, I even managed to get the purple dust I needed. I think there's a folk in the next chapter that drops purple dust, sort of like Berlachen drops green ores. So if you need the purple dust and you don't want to grind Mabinogion or Humpty, then you can just wait a bit. But I happened to get just enough purple dusts going through this chapter. And there's Koropuna finally finished. I'll probably never use it again.
Well, I mean, with it fully finished, maybe it does something special. Not really. Probably not.
I don't think so. And Skriker's just easier because there's so many of it. I was even using it against Gargantua.
Yeah, I think you at max level you get 5 of them or something?
4 of them. I don't think you ever got more than 4 of anything. But anyway, thanks for joining me, Zain, and next time we'll be taking on Fleshroom.
Sounds like fun.